Friday. My name is Shiksha Arora with my co-anchor John Kago. Quite an eventful week we've had. A lot happening, of course, from the fact that, we have President Uhuru Kenyatta's farewell. That's something that, we are going to be talking about later on. We have a story on that. And not forgetting that we have an update coming in from Britain.
Yeah, absolutely. Following the demise of Queen Elizabeth this second, remember, it is an important occasion, especially for Kenyans, because the ascension of the then Princess Queen Elizabeth to the post of Queen is when she was here in Kenya, and the President during the farewell asking that the flags be flown at half-mast for the next 3 days as the country joins the rest of the Commonwealth countries this morning. The death of Queen Elizabeth II, comprehensive coverage on that. Do we have the spotlight tonight?
Absolutely. We've also got spotlight later on. We will be interviewing the stars of County 49. We've got Emmanuel Mugo and Wakio Mzenge. Quite a talent that we have there in the two of them. So we'll be talking to them later on, sports and business as well. But for now, it's time for the highlights. The military stages a grand farewell for outgoing Commander-in-Chief, President Uhuru Kenyatta. Man charged with 68.4 million shilling theft at I&M Bank. In memory of Queen Elizabeth, Kenya declares days of mourning. A section of lecturers call for reforms in funding of universities to enhance their viability. Welcome to Easy Friday. Tonight's top story. Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta has asked the Kenya Defence Forces, KDF, to support President-elect William Ruto's administration, just like they did for his administration and that of his predecessor, Mwai Kibaki.
Well, during his farewell ceremony at the Ulinzi Sports Complex in Langata, President Kenyatta lauded the military for the support and participation it has rendered both in the security sector and in national development.
Hiyo ishara ya kwamba amekuwa amiri jeshi mkuu wa majeshi yote ya ulinzi. After serving as the commander-in-chief of the armed forces for the last 10 years, it was time for President Uhuru Kenyatta to bid farewell to the military.
Kwa heshima sote tusimame tafadhali, tumkaribishe mgeni wetu rasmi siku hii ya leo, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya na Amiri Jeshi Mkuu. Tumkaribishe kwa makofi moja.
In a farewell ceremony staged at the Ulinzi Sports Complex in Langata, Nairobi, in line with the military traditions and custom, President Kenyatta was ushered into the ceremonial military Land Cruiser upon arrival.
Ya kwaheri iliyoandaliwa na majeshi yetu ya ulinzi.
During the occasion, the head of state got yet another chance to inspect the guard of honor. During his address, President Kenyatta outlined key achievements of the military and its outstanding performance in safeguarding the country's territories during his 10-year tenure.
I take this opportunity to most sincerely thank all Kenyans for their extraordinary support which they have lent me, which made and continues to make significant contributions towards the prosperity of our nation. I salute each and every one of you, ladies and gentlemen, for your commitment and dedication to duty, your selfless service to our country.
President Kenyatta, who is set to hand over the instruments of power to President-elect William Ruto on Tuesday next week, asked the military to support Ruto's administration.
And I ask that you remain steadfast and support the incoming administration, just like you have supported my administration and that of my predecessors. As we depend on God to protect our beloved country, we all look upon you to implement this prayer by defending our territorial integrity and sovereignty, and by always being mission ready. I want to thank everyone who has walked the journey of building our nation with me, and once again, in particular, the Kenya Defence Forces.
The Chief of Defence Forces, General Robert Kibochi, praised the outgoing president for creating an enabling environment in the military.
We continue to promise that we will continue to execute our mandate of protecting the territorial integrity of Kenya in keeping with our motto, Ulinzi Daima.
During the ceremony, the Kenya Defence Forces honored President Uhuru Kenyatta and First Lady Margaret Kenyatta for their outstanding service to the country. Ben Chumba, Easy Friday.
Now, after the events at the Ulinzi Sports Complex, the military's farewell for the Commander-in-Chief climaxed with the pulling out ceremony at the Department of Defence headquarters.
Now, with President Uhuru Kenyatta and Chief of Defence Forces General Robert Kibochi on board the vehicle, it was towed by ropes pulled by military generals out of the headquarters.
The ceremony signifies the force's appreciation for their commander following the successful relationship that they had during his tenure.
Well, the president will, however, cease to be the commander-in-chief once the president-elect is sworn in on Tuesday next week.
He has been their commander-in-chief for the last 10 years, and the journey to bid him farewell culminates right here at the defense headquarters. The forces have hailed him for the reforms that have been made in the sector.
Well, it's the pomp and color that comes with the military there. Let's move on and head over to the corridors of justice. And a middle-aged man was arrested today and charged for falsely obtaining 68.4 million shillings from the I&M Bank in Nairobi. Appearing before Senior Resident Magistrate Muthoni Nzibe at the Milimani Law Courts, the suspect, Stephen Nyawamu, who did not have legal representation, pleaded not guilty. It is alleged that Nyawamu, being a customer of the bank, committed the offense on July 25th this year. The incident was reported by an employee of the bank who is among 3 witnesses expected to testify in that particular case. Nyawamu will remain in custody until September 19th for pre-bail hearing.
All right, now moving on to the next story. Kenya will have 3 days of national mourning in honor of the late Queen Elizabeth II. Additionally, the Kenya flag will be flown at half-mast at State House and all Kenyan diplomatic missions during the period. President Uhuru Kenyatta, in his message of condolence, eulogized the late Queen as a person who epitomized the very best of humanity and leadership through selfless public service for 70 years at the helm of the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth, and in her life of 96 years. Take a look.
In a presidential proclamation on Friday, President Uhuru Kenyatta said it was with profound sadness and immeasurable grief that Kenya received the news of the Queen's death. President Kenyatta eulogized the late Queen Elizabeth II as a close friend of Kenya and the lifeblood of the Commonwealth. The head of state expressed deepest sympathy and condolences to His Majesty King Charles III and the rest of the royal family, and the government and the people of the United Kingdom, the governments and people of the Commonwealth nations. In honor of the life and times of the late Queen, President Kenyatta said the country observe a period of the national mourning from sunset Friday, September 9th, 2022 to sunset Monday, September 12th, 2022. The Kenya national flag shall be flown at half-mast at State House and all Kenyan diplomatic missions, public buildings and public grounds, all military bases, posts and stations, and all naval vessels of the Republic of Kenya, and however elsewhere throughout the Republic of Kenya, from dawn Friday, September 9th, 2022, until sunset Monday, September 12th, 2022. And that the national flag shall be flown at half-mast for the same length of time at all high commissions, embassies, consulates, diplomatic offices and other facilities of the Republic of Kenya abroad. Beatrice Getonyenge-Tich, Easy Friday.
All right, and still staying with that now, King Charles III has now ascended to the British throne following the demise of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II. The Queen, who was the longest-serving British monarch, passed on at the Balmoral Castle in Scotland after aged 96 years old. The former Prince of Wales, aged 74, will follow a number of practical and traditional steps before he is crowned king. He will address the nation any time from now.
Catherine beside him, our new Prince and Princess of Wales will, I know, continue to inspire and lead our national conversations, helping to bring the marginal to the centre ground where vital help can be given.
Following the death of Queen Elizabeth II, her first child and heir, Charles Philip Arthur George, now known as King Charles III, automatically becomes the new monarch, and his wife Camilla becomes the Queen Consort. King Charles III is expected to go through a number of traditional steps before he is finally crowned king. A formal ceremony where he will be officially proclaimed king will happen at St. James Palace in London on Saturday, led by a ceremonial body known as the Accession Council, made up of members of the Privy Council. He will thereafter attend a second meeting by the Accession Council, where he will be publicly proclaimed as the new king by Garter King of Arms, an official of the St. James Palace. King Charles III has now become the head of the Commonwealth, which is an association of 56 independent countries, 14 of which he is the head of state. His mother, Queen Elizabeth II, is the longest-serving monarch in the United Kingdom after reigning for 70 years. The Queen came to the throne in 1952 following the death of her father, King George VI. Queen Elizabeth passed on Thursday at Balmoral in Scotland, surrounded by family. She was born Elizabeth Alexandra Mary Windsor in Mayfair, London on 21st April 1926. Her tenure as head of state spanned from post-war austerity to the transition from empire to Commonwealth to the end of the Cold War and the famous United Kingdom's entry into and its withdrawal from the European Union. Following her death, Operation London Bridge Has Fallen was immediately activated. This is a term used to communicate with members of the parliament, particularly the Prime Minister, the passing of a monarch until a formal announcement has been made. The Prime Minister, in this case, Liz Truss, was the first official from the government to speak. Thereafter, Parliament was suspended for 10 days and government representatives instructed to lower the flags to half-mast and exercise discretion.
Britain is the great country it is today because of her. She ascended the throne just after the Second World War. She championed the development of the Commonwealth from a small group of 7 countries to a family of 56 nations, spanning every continent of the world.
A black banner also appeared on royal websites symbolizing mourning, and funeral arrangements will be made public. Because the Queen died in Scotland, her coffin will first lie in repose at Holyrood Palace, then a service of reception at St Giles Cathedral in Edinburgh will be held. It will then be transported back to London by royal train, a process known as Operation Unicorn, and the Prime Minister and senior ministers will welcome the coffin at a special reception at St Pancras Station before it is taken to Buckingham Palace, then transported to Westminster Hall ahead of the burial.
Right, and I had mentioned in that story that King Charles III would be making an address. Well, as you saw in that story, he already made that particular address. Just that quick correction right there.
All right, with that, it's time for us to take our first commercial break, but we will be back with much more in just a moment. Don't go too far. This is Easy Friday, only on KBC Channel 1.
In this weekend's edition of The Living Legends, we hear from a band of brothers whose first studio recording resonates to this day.
The tourists were dancing to it, and they were just saying, oh, jambo, jambo. So there was a request all the time.
Their acts of charity are now geared towards a reading culture.
We assume that everybody can go online all over Kenya.
Right.
But you go to some rural schools, they don't have storybooks. Some schools don't even have libraries.
Fayaz Qureshi is in conversation with the Harrison brothers, John Katana and Billy Saro of Them Mushrooms.
Wageni wakaribishwa, Kenya yetu hakuna matata.
On The Living Legends, Saturday, 10th September 2022 at 9:30 p.m.
Karibuni sana to the Second Chance TV game show.
Tough questions.
Virunga National Park is located within which mountain ranges?
Aberdare.
Aberdare? Is that your final answer?
Tough challenges.
3, 2, 1, go!
It's a survival for the smartest.
10 seconds to go. Who is the current president of Malawi?
Wrong answer.
That is the wrong answer. Does it border to the east? Nakuru County. Nakuru County, you get 2,000 bob.
Premiering soon on Channel 1.
Mbona unakimbia? Kwani umeona Costa?
Hiyo Costa nini ndio mtaiona eh? I hope you are ready for the exams.
Mimi niko ready. Tell him to bring it on.
Teacher, Mr. McFridge, I am on my bended knees and I am very sorry. I acknowledge that you are the teacher and I am the student. I am sorry.
Viva! Viva!
Kinyanjui, you have a lot of explaining to do. Can you come back here?
Mr. Teacher, I am learning somewhere very, very important. I will see you later.
Welcome back to this live broadcast. Now moving on with our bulletin, a section of university lecturers in the country are calling for restructuring of funding for both public and private institutions of higher running to facilitate smooth and seamless running of the institutions, highlighting challenges such as slow capitation, unhonored collective bargaining agreements and ethnicity as issues bedeviling stability of the system. The Dons say they have confidence the incoming government will prioritize their concerns to help restore the dignity of the academic staff.
While raising a myriad of issues which they say are glaring challenges that continue to face higher institutions of learning.
All CBAs have been very problematic. We have been going on strikes to force the government to come on table to negotiate the CBAs. Even after negotiating, and it is even registered, we have always been on a second strike to force the government to implement.
In fact, the mismanagement has been heightened to the extent that some of the universities cannot perform. And we even have a section of the university workers being paid nearly 50% of the salaries that they are supposed to be paid.
One of the common challenge we all go through is the capitation, so we need it timely.
A section of lecturers from both public and private universities say they are hopeful that agreements made with the incoming government will be met.
That time we gave a charter in case that it becomes. Now he is. So we are telling him to remember.
Low capitation and unimplemented collective bargaining agreements remain the biggest hurdle, and they are proposing a number of solutions.
Can the negotiations be done about 2 years before the cycle starts? So that the negotiation is completed, the CBA is signed, it is registered, waiting financing, and the government will have ample time.
We are supposed to have vice chancellors who should be competitive, and only those who emerge best should be appointed. We've had situations where candidates who performed dismally have been appointed, and you can only know what that would mean to such institutions.
At the same time, the public university lecturers say the institutions should not suffer at the expense of private universities.
Tunapoendelea kuchenga vyuo vya kibinafsi, tuhakikishe kwamba zile fedha ambazo zimetoka katika serikali zimewekezwa katika vyuo vya kiserikali, siweze kuonekana kwamba wanafunzi wanapeanwa hapo, wanaweza kusoma, ili tusione ile hali ya vyuo vya kiserikali vikianguka, vya kibinafsi vikifanya nini? So tunaomba kwa ule usawa.
The Dons are also calling for the realization of the research funds pegged at 2% of the national budget that has remained elusive. Kamchemenza for Easy Friday.
All right, of course, and as we take you through the new leadership, as we get more information when it comes to the 13th Parliament and the race to the chair, that is National Assembly, we've got, those that have been appointed, those that have won those particular seats. We've got the National Assembly Speaker, the winner, Moses Wetangula, of course, from Kenya Kwanza. And this is a bit of him with regards to his background. Started off in 2002, elected to the National Assembly as Sirisia MP. 2008 to 2010, he served as Minister for Foreign Affairs, after which in 2012 to 2013 he was the Minister of Trade, and after which 2013 to 2022 he was the Bungoma County Senator, and of course 8 September 2022 elected as National Assembly Speaker. So yes, that is, in terms of the winner of the National Assembly Speaker. Now moving on, let's take a look at the Deputy Speaker. The winner is Gladys Sholei from Kenya Kwanza. In 2000 to 2009, she was the Chief Executive Officer of the National Council for Law Reporting, and 2010 to 2011, Deputy Chief Electoral Commission of IIEC. In 2011 to 2013, Chief Registrar of the Judiciary. In 2017 to 2022, she was a woman member of Parliament for Uasin Gishu County, and obviously finally has won that particular seat, that is National Assembly Deputy Speaker. Now moving on, we have obviously more information when it comes to Senate. And here we go. We'll be bringing that tab to you in a moment. Right here, we've got the race to Senate, of course, the Senate Speaker. We have there Amason Kingi from Kenya Kwanza. In 2003 to 2013, he served as the Member of Parliament for Magarini. Moving on, in 2008 to 2013, he served in different ministries, among them the East African Community and Fisheries Development. And then in 2013, all the way to 2022, he was the Governor of Kilifi County. And after which, he is the elected Senate Speaker. That was September 8th, of course, this year. Moving on, let's just take a look at the Deputy Speaker of Senate. We've got Kathuri Murungi, who is the winner of Kenya Kwanza. In 1999, he was a project coordinator for Conserve International in Kenya. 2002, became a property manager for Maite Enterprises Limited. 2003 to 2013, he was a director for Kenface and Consultants Africa Limited. In 2013, all the way to 2022, he was elected Member of Parliament for South Imenti, and now he is the elected Senate Deputy Speaker. Moving on, let's just take a look. All right, that is it for now. But yes, this is when it comes to, you know, the race to the chair for Senate and National Assembly. Those were the appointments and the elected, of course, National Assembly speakers plus the Senate speakers. For now, let's just hand you back to Kago on the other side of the studio.
All right, thank you so much, Shiksha, for that. And continuing with Easy Friday tonight, different arms of government have been busy this week as per the mandate of the Constitution. Now, from the President-elect's win being validated by the Supreme Court to a fitting failed party of the outgoing President. Now, Tess Mutai gives us a snippet of what netizens had to say on the social media realm. This is the Social Media Weekly.
Leadership position sometimes comes with a fight of tooth and nail. But what does the netizens, who are the critics in this case, have to say? This week started on a high note with a much-awaited Supreme Court verdict on the 2022 presidential election outcome. Indeed, the ruling left some hot air on social media. With all 9 petitions dismissed, cyber surfers were left wondering what evidence was contained in the boxes ferried by the lorry to Milimani. Arnold tweeted, "Avoid carrying evidence with a lorry," crying emoji. Carrington, when you hear Martha Koome say no credible evidence, no significant difference, no proof, you are left to wonder what this lorry was carrying as evidence. Miss M, to be honest, I thought that lorry was carrying crucial evidence. But oh well, I guess that means the end for the infamous Venezuelan Lord Jose Camargo. And when you thought the week couldn't see more of the wild goose chase, then boom, man Steve-O comes through to send netizens on a new quest.
This man!
Kalonzo Musyoka withdrew from the Senate Speaker race at the 11th hour, and the keyboard warriors did not let it rest.
Get out! Toka nje! Toka nje!
Kerry tweeted, "Sema tu uliona utashindwa." Laughing emoji. Bikubwa, this is going better than expected. Omari, we acha tu nicheke. Mike, ile maneno at Musyoka utuonyesha. Wa Lupakisyo, you got to be kidding me. Mukiri, Kalonzo can't agree with Musyoka. Wow.
Siku gani dada?
As a country that observes democracy, then for those in leadership positions, power is transient and time to say goodbye is inevitable. And on Friday, Uhuru Kenyatta had a farewell like no other from the military on event that excited netizens. Glazers tweeted, hiyo jazz ya military band iko juu sana. On the animal portraits, the sculptures gifted to the outgoing president, Finiki, felt it was not clear whether it is framed pictures or livestock. Please let it be actual livestock. Clifford, goodbye President Uhuru Kenyatta, we shall miss you. James tweeted, thank you President Uhuru Kenyatta, we love you. Well James, just so you know, His Excellency feels the same way.
I love you too.
Well, that's it for us this Friday. Catch you next week on Savage Netizens. For Easy Friday, I am Teresa Mutai.
Kupata Zaburi 18 mstari wa pili, dial star 811 star 817 hash. Mwenyezi Mungu ni mwamba wangu, ngome yangu na mkombozi wangu. Mungu wangu, mwamba wangu ninayemkimbilia ninapohitaji kuwa salama. Zaburi 18 mstari wa pili. Zaburi 18 mstari wa pili, dial star 811 star 817 hash. Star 811 star 817 hash.
Nero ukwe maskini lakini ukwe mzima.
Ukiwa na health mzuri, shukuru Mungu.
Some of them don't even understand the kind of sickness that they are suffering from. But thank you because through Mama here, we have seen the hand of God.
Nashukuru, nilitibiwa, sasa naendelea kupona.
Lakini mlisupport, nikaweza kupona, sasa niko na raha. Mungu awabariki.
Nilikava kabisa, niko na furaha sana. The only show that is transforming lives.
Mungu akubariki na Mungu akuzidishie.
Differently.
I didn't know when diabetes started creeping in on me until I lost my sight. That's when I was diagnosed with diabetes, and it was established that mine was disability as a result of diabetes, not glaucoma.
I worked diligently, hoping that my bosses, that is John Mombi and Ongarimi, would consider me working here, because this, even getting here, is, I feel it as an achievement.
We're differently abled, differently.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at the latest in the world of business. My name is Caroline Jenga. Now, Uganda is Kenya's top tourist source market in Africa and the second overall after the United States of America. This is according to the latest tourism data that indicates that between January and August this year, 812 tourists visited Kenya, earning the country 167 billion shillings, which is double what was earned during a similar period last year. 811 tourists jetted in through the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, while 40,355 inbound tourists arrived through Moi International Airport, Mombasa. Let's take a look at that story.
The World Tourism Organization indicates that international tourism is at 61% below the 2019 levels. For Kenya, tourist arrivals between January and August this year pointed to a steady recovery despite the general election and the COVID-19 restrictions in some countries.
And as our projection, we project that we will reach 1.4 million people by the end of the year, of a range of 267 billion Kenya shillings revenue for the country.
During the period, 924,812 tourists visited Kenya, with revenue doubling to 167 billion shillings compared to 83 billion shillings earned during a similar period last year. Most of the tourists jetted in through the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, followed by the Moi International Airport, Mombasa, with the drastic reductions in arrivals through Mombasa blamed on reduced charter flights. Uganda is Kenya's top tourist source market in Africa, accounting for 9% of tourist arrivals and second overall after the United States of America, that accounts for 15% of tourists who mainly visit for holidaying. Gaps at points of entry, e-visa application and slow implementation of the open sky policy are among the challenges to higher tourist arrivals.
Kenya is unique because we can have multiple hubs to address the issue of the beach as a destination, and we can have a multiple hub, again a hub here in Nairobi to address the interior of the safari destination. And even this, they can crisscross between the beach and the safari. But there is a demand from Europe, particularly for direct flights to come into Moi Airport and Mombasa.
Kenya is diversifying its tourist and marketing campaigns to include medical, education and sports tourism that are slowly gaining traction.
Now, for Kenya to achieve its target of hosting 1.4 million tourists by end of 31st December 2022, a lot needs to be done. Among them, issues to be addressed is the challenges in applying for visas on the e-platform, the downtime, as well as the heavy presence of fake websites, as well as the full implementation of the open sky policy. I'm Regina Manyara, reporting for KBC Channel 1.
Now to the latest from Konza. The first phase of the Konza Technopolis would be ready for commissioning by March next year. The contractor says the setting up of the horizontal infrastructure would be finalized by the end of this year for the project that is currently 80% complete. Now, our reporter Hibakside, who was at Konza City, now updates us on the first phase of the project.
What is a city if not its infrastructure and its people? And arguably, what is a technopolis if not a strict adherence to its master plan and the achievement of its vision? Sitting on 5,000 acres of land is Konza Technopolis, Kenya's first smart city and one of 3 in Africa. The first phase of the project, covering 410 acres, is sectioned into multimodal boulevards, segregating work areas from residential zones in what the developers term as bands.
Every area is zoned for specific activities, from commercial zones, mixed use. We have a technology zone, university zone, we have residential zone. So from a planning point of view, that differentiates it from any city.
Everything is done in a very systematic manner and automated. Most of the things that are going to be implemented here are automated. So like the water treatment plant, maybe the wastewater reclamation facility, the DS distribution substation that we have been to, and all of these other places, the infrastructure itself.
In the outlay, the band nearing the main highway is the commercial band. According to the Konza Technopolis Development Authority, all commercial bands in the first phase of the project have been fully occupied, and only 20% of the portions in residential, light and industry bands are yet to be leased.
By end of this year, we will complete some of the main parts that are the electrical substation, the wastewater treatment plant. And next year, on the first month of the next year, we complete also the infrastructures, and we start with test commissioning. That is a critical and most important phase with the client and also with the employer representative that will take around a couple of months. It means that the substantial completion will be March, April.
ICM, the Italian contractor at the project, says most utilities set up underground are complete, with contractor now focusing on organizing the city's sewerage, cabling, a majority of parking and oil reservoirs tucked beneath the earth. What remains, they say, is setting up lighting in the underground infrastructure.
All the infrastructures for phase 1 of the Konza project, that is including all the infrastructure, means the utilities underground, all the main roads with street lights and everything, including landscape, parks and also sport fields. The managing of the sewage water means that we have a treatment plant for potable water, all the also electrical connections to have the functionality, to guarantee the functionality of the future city in Konza.
The various scopes of the project, which includes the roads, the utilities, the serviceability of this area, is the key focus for any investor to de-risk a project.
In addition, the contractor says 85% of the roads for the first phase of the project are complete and most amenities are in place.
For the roads, we already starting with the asphalt, and to cover these ones means that at the moment we reach more than 80% of the progress with the asphalt, and there are some places that will be completed before December, means end of November, beginning of December we will complete the first part of the most part of the stretch.
He says a large portion of the work remaining is landscaping. For the second phase, authorities say commercial areas are segregated in phases in the master plan. They note that the underground work has already been set up and its development will commence as soon as the first phase is commissioned in March next year.
Have a bare piece of land is now this what you call the cadastral survey. Where will the roads pass exactly? Where then you put the beacons. Where will the parcels, how will they be sized, etc. So that is the second part of the planning. That within this financial year is a key objective to ensure that within the 5,000 acres we should be able to complete as and when we have all the resources to do that vast work, because it's within the scope of 5,000 acres.
Hibak Said for Easy Friday.
And we all look forward to the completion of the Konza city. Now moving on, the Kenya Bureau of Standards, in partnership with Washington State University, has signed a deal on enhancing food safety. The initiative will see microbiology researchers from Washington State University explore ways on the prevention of obesity, foodborne illnesses and metabolic diseases in the country.
According to data from the World Health Organization, each year, unsafe food causes 600 million cases of foodborne diseases and 420,000 deaths. The report indicates that 30% of foodborne deaths occur among children aged under 5. The World Health Organization says 33 million years of healthy lives are lost due to eating unsafe food globally annually. A 2018 World Bank report revealed that unsafe food costs low and middle income economies $110 billion in lost productivity and medical expenses each year. As such, collaboration between the Kenya Bureau of Standards and Washington State University will see further research done in the food and nutrition sector to help curb health-related complications.
Our topmost priority is protection of safety and health of the consumers. We check the foods to ensure that it has the nutritional content as prescribed in the label. There are no unsand contaminants in terms of the chemicals, in terms of the mycotoxins. I mean, when you talk about mycotoxins, I'm talking about aflatoxins and the microorganisms and the pathogens. So we do analysis of the foods and ensure that the standards requirements are met in all those aspects and that is how the food is considered safe.
The initiative will also see researchers establish part of a major effort to implement international caliber food safety standards. This is part of KEB's role in building strong and resilient national food safety systems. The standards body will also be proactive in collaborating with partners to tap into new technologies and vast research that are important in improving food safety and product competitiveness.
The standards that we develop are going to be acceptable, globally. So we have to interact closely with other universities, and that is what we are doing right now here.
The collaboration between Kenya Bureau of Standards and the Washington State University will also focus on essential energy and nutrients necessary to lead healthy and fruitful lives. Ndutamo Kami for Easy Friday.
Now that story brings to a close business news for tonight, but you can find more stories on our website at kbc.co.ke, including a story on feed manufacturers where they are optimistic that the price of animal feeds will drastically reduce after China decreased its global soybean purchase. You'll find that story and more. That is it from me. Richard Munga is on the other end of the studio with the latest in the world of sports.
Kwenye mkulima tutakuza strawberries na tujifunze mbinu mpya kupanda mimea kwenye kijisehemu kidogo.
Tumemaliza. Sasa tuko kwa the second level na the difference now ni 3 inches. So hii ndio sasa the first terrace tumetengeneza na terrace huwa ni 3 inches. Na hapo ndio sasa tutapandia mimea baada ya kufanya installation.
Ungana nasi Jumapili saa 9:30 hapa KBC Channel 1.
Hello there. Good boys gone bad.
Eric Omondi has evolved from being a comedian to now being the king clout chaser.
How does a gospel artist make money? Jaguar wept again.
Anaweza kuwa celeb, anaweza kuwa na followers, but it's a time for artists to make bank.
Yes. How is your relationship with Zari, considering that she dates young?
These are accessories.
They do not make... Slap the guy.
Yo, what's up? My name is Ted Josiah.
Oh, mashallah.
You sing about serious issues, it will not trend. If you sing about Abiambosi.
No.
Bahati hata kuwa na machozi. Willy Paul ndio alikuwa anatoa machozi.
For your beat these boys with stones. Let's all be logic. Yesu ashukangi chini analeta pesa.
Musicians are missing the point.
Do we sip water?
You are watching Pop Culture with Adhiambo with a Y.
Life cannot always be too serious.
Yeah, man, what's up here?
Hello?
We've got to take some time off and laugh, laugh, laugh and laugh. And we tickle you down with lots of laughter.
That's why I'm saying I'm who is who.
Huh?
With satire like no other.
Tell him to bring it on.
Dakachapa.
Well, now, good evening. As always, it is an honor to have your company for KBC Sports with me, Richard Munga. Now, National Rugby Sevens team Shiksha has been relegated to the Challenge quarterfinals at the ongoing Sevens Rugby World Cup in Cape Town, South Africa, after they lost their round of 16 matches, March 22-7 to Argentina. A try from Vincent Onyala, which was converted by Samuel Eliech, was not enough to rescue Shiksha from a relatively strong Argentine side. In a mixed morning for African teams, Kenya had ensured there would be two African representatives in the round of 16 when they beat Tonga 19-0 in their opening game at the Cape Town Stadium. Shiksha will now face Scotland. Scotland, of course, in the other match tomorrow.
They're from Santiago Verafelt.
Over the top to Samuel Oliech, inside to Humwa. For them of late. Tackle. But so far, so good with two maximum scores. Little show and go from Oliech. And
that match will be the Challenge Trophy quarter-final at 1:37 p.m. local time. Two other matters now. Olympic champion Faith Kipyegon was among the winners of the Diamond League titles crowned last night after the two-day Zurich leg of the season. Kipyegon, however, missed out on her main goal of breaking the 1,500 meters world record currently held by Genzebe Dibaba.
Class of her own. It's a 24-carat diamond performance.
Faith Kipyegon clocked 4 minutes 0.44 seconds to win the 1,500 meters at the two-day Zurich Diamond League meeting, which ended last night.
I can say I was feeling really good. I wanted to finish my season in this way, nice race, and that is what I did. I just controlled the pace and just kick at the last 200 meters. So it really feels special for me to win the Diamond League trophy, to win the World Championship. Now I go back home. I just rest, take my time with my daughter, and that's happened.
They know they're middle distance champions, and they've got another one here this year. Ingebrigtsen storming to the line. Watch the clock.
Timothy Cheriot finished second in the men's race with Abel Kipsang fourth.
Is very, very tired and fading away, but Mora hanging on for the win there. Wins it from the front this time. 1:57.63. Gould did her best, but it...
Mary Mora dominated and won the women 800 meters.
Chasing hard, the head bobbing. Whiteman not got enough left. Career's coming back at him. Has he turned him to perfection? Yes, he has. 1:43.
Emmanuel Korir won the men's 800 meters.
She's trying to attack her off the last barrier, and here she comes, and Yavi stumbles. Katachu's going to get the win. Stronger.
Faith Cherotich finished third in the 3,000-meter steeplechase won by Ethiopian Werku Hagatechu.
This time away, brilliant start as always from Shelley-Ann Fraser-Price. Jackson's got work to do.
Shelley-Ann Fraser-Price won the 100 meters diamond with a 10.65 seconds win in Zurich.
65. It's another 10.6 something showing from Shelley-Ann Fraser-Price. She has her 5th diamond trophy.
Well, congratulations once again to Faith Kipyegon, Mary Mora, as well as other Kenyans who won their respective races last night. Now, elsewhere, Kenya's secondary school volleyball champions, Konza girls, started their title defense today on a winning note as the national Term 2 games got underway in Nakuru. The games are being held for the first time after a 2-year break due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Kwatanze, who are optimistic of a successful outing during the Kenya Secondary School Sports Association Term 2 National Games, beat Mwitoti Girls by 3-0 in the girls' volleyball pool matches. Kesogon Girls thrashed Karima Girls 3-0, while Soweto Girls beat Viembani Girls by the same margin. In the boys' category, Cheptil School came from a set down to sea of Namwale School by 3-1. Kwatanze Girls, who are also the East and Central African defending champions, had left Machakos earlier today with Kiteta Girls from Makueni, where they were flagged off by Machakos County Deputy Governor Francis Mwangangi.
We need to allocate more. We need, my special appeal is that we need to allocate more to sports. Sports is very critical part of our lives. And it is one of the major foreign exchange earners for many countries. Kenya is known for sports.
Kwatanze coach Justin Kigwaro said they looked forward to making it to the regional games in Arusha mid this month. Kiteta Girls, on the other hand, won the Lower Eastern Region 3x3 basketball in Embu, with their coach Dan Davi hoping to replicate the same results in the national games.
My motivation has been building the talent, developing the girls, and making the best players for this country and for international also, to be players who can be internationally actually performing. And also I can say as a coach, I've also been proud to produce players that are making it in the national team, making the first six in the national team, Malikia strikers, and making impact actually in the world as volleyball players.
An example of the players.
I have Sharon Chepchumba, who is the best eater in this continent, and actually now she's going for professional volleyball in Serbia.
Meanwhile, the primary school games are also underway in Machakos. Frederick Olwete for Channel 1 Sports.
Moving on to other matters now, Athletics Kenya has rolled out a robust program of curbing doping amidst rising cases of Kenyan athletes using enhancing substances. Speaking today, AK Executive Member Barnaba Korir reassured Kenyans of immediate response to ensure that Kenya does not get to the level of Russian athletes. Among the measures the Federation will roll out to stem the rise among athletes includes a requirement of registering all coaches as well as foreign managers handling Kenyan runners, effective from the 1st of next month. At the same time, Korir congratulated all the 6 Kenyan athletes who were crowned Diamond League winners. Olympic champions Faith Kipyegon, Emmanuel Korir, Nicholas Kimeli, and Commonwealth champions Beatrice Chebeta and Miri Mura were crowned Diamond League winners last night as a result booked the sport in next year's World Athletics Championships in Budapest, Hungary.
What we are requesting now is for the government to continue supporting those international events and maybe bringing more. And I want to attribute to the fact that AIU, at least integrity unit, we have also ADA, which is Anti-Doping Agency of Kenya, and of course working closely with Athletics Kenya. They have been able to make sure that most of the athletes that are taking part, both locally and internationally, they are tested to make sure that they don't take banned substance. So those who have been caught is because of the work that the Federation and the other bodies are doing. And I also want to urge our athletes that with the systems that have been put in place, there is no need to take a risk because you will be caught.
Oh, that's all the time we had for sports tonight, but just a reminder, some of your favorite leagues, that is the EPL actually, will not be hosting any matches this weekend and goes through to Monday matches, but Serie A, Bundesliga, La Liga, as well as Ligue 1 will be available. So KBC subsequent sports bulletins will be on standby to give you all the updates as well as the scores. Oh, that's it for me. Do have a good night, but don't go too far. John, Kago and Shiksha, back to you.
All right, thank you, Munga. Of course, the death of Queen Elizabeth II has a ripple effect all across the world. As you mentioned, the EPL matches this weekend have been called off. Many thanks indeed for choosing us tonight. The first part of Easy Friday is done and dusted. We're crossing over to the second part. That's the spotlight. Shiksha, what are you looking at tonight?
All right, so tonight we've got 2 very talented actors. I'm sure you've heard of County 49. Yes, we'll be talking to Emmanuel Mugo and Wakio Mzenge. Remember, these are 2 very, I'd really like to give them this word, brilliant actors, because I've watched them. You know, I feel like they are phenomenal in what they do.
Yeah, they're really doing their thing. On the other side, I can see it from the corner of my eye.
Yeah, they're already acting. And they've been doing it for a while, actually. So we'll talk about all things acting. If, you know, you are a budding actor or somebody who wants to become an actor in your life at some point in your career, make sure you stay right here. We'll be having a very in-depth conversation with them about all things acting and the Kenyan acting industry. That's coming up in a short while.
Yeah, I've always wanted to be in a Kenyan movie.
Me too.
Maybe it's time for me to stick around.
Let me say, I have a funny story, not funny, but interesting story with one of the actors here, Emmanuel Mugo, who was trying to train me and make my audition go smoothly.
How did that end up?
It didn't end up, but we'll talk about it.
Right. Well, that's the first part going down and dusted. Take it away, Shiksha.
manzi saiko. Canaro, Blanda, Detin, Canairo, Blanda, away. Toto Hadija, away. Ilienda date, wacha tuwe na manzi saiko. Kadem kalikuwa kanasumbua, nikajua kakadem siku moja kataniwa. Nikapata mwingine mali safi, lakini alikuwa na baby daddy. Mtoto wake akaanza kunita daddy, baby daddy, tulishikana mashati. Nikapata mwingine na mama, alikuja kijani kucha. Uodem alikuwa na shtua, tukimake love alikuwa na bonda sura. Nimetafuta kila chuo, nimetafuta kila rima, natafuta mdenge. Wewe nimetafuta kila chombo, nimetafuta kila rima, natafuta mdenge. Kanero Siski niliambiwa ni muache Siski. Kamote painting ameniseti kamote. Mbele ya watu ni mpole, very calm, lakini looks are deceiving. Usake kumuona kamejam. Dodge sahani, dodge hepa, dodge vikombe, dodge mboch, ita masoja. Painting anataka kuniua, akibebu taniua. Sitali babes, tupunguze kisirani, unachoma picha kwa jirani. I don't care. Siski niliambiwa ni muache Siski. Kamote painting ameniseti kamote. Manzi yangu ye ni boxer, anajua mpaka kumfu. Nimeshindwa kumtoka, ye ni kichwa ngumu. Manzi yako anakaga mpole. Usifanye mimi nicheke, baby face sikuingize. Unistima, uninare. Juzi nilimwambia simtaki, akaanza kisirani. Nitajiua, nitakunywa happy. Nikamurudia juu ya kupanic. Siski niliambiwa ni muache Siski. Kamote hizo staili zimeganda kundi, bora upeperushe mikono. Mauno ya kitanga na mpita, hayana mwendo unalegea. Sina budi kuwazima dara, ni wakomeshe wasikie vibaya. Kolo la kolo,
This is Easy Friday. My name is Shiksha Arora. Welcome to KBC Channel 1. The second part of the show is here. The part that I'm most excited about is that tonight I've got two very brilliant actors, Wakio Mzenge and Emmanuel Mugo, stars of County 49, the latest Showmax original. And I remember there's one thing that I've always been very intrigued with, and that's acting and actors. I've had a couple of acting, I would say, what are they called? Cameos, but never really done something fully fledged. And I really want to know more about all things acting. So they're here to dissect the Kenyan acting industry and just give us an in-depth analysis of what exactly it takes to be an actor. Plus, tell us about their latest, original that everyone's been watching and everyone's been loving. I've heard a lot of good things. I've seen a lot of good things about it, and I've watched a couple of episodes myself, and I have to say, I like what I see. So with me, we've got Emmanuel and Wakio. Thank you for coming to Easy Friday.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us, man.
Yeah, it wasn't very easy to get here, but
we're here. But we're here. So first, Debbie, County 49, you know, it's very political.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot that's happening in the backdrop of politics, plus it's drama, and I feel like there's one thing that I really, really enjoyed is the trailer. I watched the trailer and I was like, I'm hooked. That was brilliant, especially your intro.
Well,
very powerful.
I think that's the purpose of a trailer.
Yeah, and I think the job was well done. So props to whoever did the edit and director. And of course, actors.
Yes,
well done.
The whole team.
You know, when you first got the news that you're going to be a governor, like, what did you feel? Did you ever think that you'd play such a role?
Well, not really governor, but I did really look forward to a time when I will do a political show.
Really?
And, yeah. Obviously, after either a politician or a lawyer.
Okay.
Those are some of the things that I was really intrigued by, because it's watching Viola Davis, you know, in How to Get Away with Murder. Then you just get intrigued with that powerful woman and how. Yeah, of course, I would imagine, like, how would it feel if I got that opportunity to do something like that? And interestingly enough, when I came to audition, I wasn't auditioning for governor. My first audition was auditioning for the wife of the ex-governor.
Oh, interesting.
So the role of Agnes, yeah.
Okay.
So after I did my first audition, then I was told, you just go try and get that speech and then you come back for the audition. And then I went and came back and voila, we are here. So kudos to me.
Madam Governor in the house.
Yay to the work.
Right? Well done. What about you, Mugo? Like, you know, when you first went for the audition, what were your thoughts? Like, this is something that is very different from what you've done in the past. You've always been the boy next door. You've always been lover boy. You've always been, you know, I feel like he's always been into such roles. And then, of course, he's done a lot of action as well. So in this particular role, like, what were your thoughts? You know, what were you thinking? Something different? Were you excited?
I was pretty excited at first because the role I play wasn't the role I auditioned for.
Oh, you too?
Yeah, I went in... Okay. Daddy Mato is in the film.
Yes.
He's in the series as well.
Yes.
I auditioned for his character.
Oh, okay.
It's because I saw the character had this military cop vibe going on.
Authority.
Yeah, this authority thing going on. And I think I was really drawn to that kind of character. So I remember making a whole monologue and coming to audition, and I was so on. But they were like, okay. Okay. But... we'll see. So the callback happened, and turns out maturity thing, and I had to try it for another character, which happens because, you know, it's also a rejection game in a way. You know, what we do, you may want to do this character, but something about you may not really agree or quite fit with that character. And that alone can, you know, change everything.
100%. And you know, it's interesting that you've mentioned rejection, because I think as an actor you have to go through
it's a rejection game.
So many auditions before you land your first job as an actor. Do you remember the time when you first got your first gig as an actor? Like, how was that process and journey for you? Did you have to go through very many auditions, or were you one of the lucky ones? Tell us.
Did I have to go through many auditions? No, I did not have to go through many auditions.
Too talented.
No, it's not about talent. It's about that. It's for me, I'm a believer of God, and I believe those who wait upon the Lord, He will renew their strength. He will mount up with wings as an eagle, and they will soar.
Amen.
And I feel like sometimes you just need to be in the right place at the right time.
Yes.
And then it becomes your moment. What happened for me, I went for an audition. My very first audition, it was a series that was happening somewhere at Norwich. And then at the audition, I met Eddie Peter and Musa Mwaruma. And Eddie Peter was already in a show called Pendo in NTV. Am I allowed to say NTV?
Oh, it's all right. It's all good.
So yeah, Eddie Peter was in that show. And he saw me auditioning, because we were auditioning right in front of everybody.
Yeah.
And he saw me auditioning, and he pulled me aside and told me, there's a role happening on Pendo, and I think you would fit that role. And he pitched me to his producer. Then his producer called me on a Sunday afternoon. I went with my whole family, my kids, my husband.
Wow.
Because it was a Sunday afternoon. And I walked in and I said, hi. I was like, I'm sorry, I came with the whole troop. And she was like, okay, you start on Tuesday. And that's how I got my first job.
Wow.
So sometimes it happens differently for different people.
Yeah. Yes,
that's my first TV job.
Yes.
But I had already done a few plays on stage with Heartstrings Kenya, so that had already started propelling me forward. But when you talk about auditions, in auditions there are great actors, there are very good actors. In fact, there are exceptional actors at the auditions, and doesn't mean that they will book the job.
Right.
Because it's beyond. Sometimes it's usually beyond your craft.
Yeah.
It's about how you will sync with the other people. Like, he's getting a role of a son, so they might have considered the dad looks like this, so maybe
a bit more mature.
so now then he does fit, you know. So there are things that are usually beyond the actor. And sometimes I tell people, as actors, we are the last in that food chain.
Right.
We have no control sometimes because decisions are being made in a boardroom for a show to be done. We are not aware. And by the time they're calling for auditions, you're lucky to know that there are auditions being called. You're lucky to be able to fit that role. You're lucky to be able to book that gig. You're lucky to maintain that character, and that character doesn't get killed. So it's all just a game of luck. And we are always motivated because we know that it's like an exhale.
Right.
What's the point of being a dormant volcano when you can be, you know, erupting all the time?
It can be lava.
Yeah.
Hey, okay. Explosive. Mugo, tell me about your journey. I know you've been doing this for 11 years.
Yes. So far.
He's been doing it for 11 years, and he's pretty young. So I'm just like, okay, when did you start? Tell me more.
When you were 12?
I was pretty young, guys. I was pretty young.
Do you remember the first moment that you landed the job, and what did it take to get that job?
Man, are we talking about, say, TV gigs in
yes,
this sense?
Yes, of course. Your first time on screen.
Yeah. Oh, my God. I've been hungry for this thing for a very long time. Let me start by saying that. I kicked off with doing set books and all that stuff. Eventually, 1, 2, 3, got into uni, and then short film here, short film there.
Right.
I ended up working with Tahidi High.
Oh. That was your first.
That was my first. Shout out Catherine Amoyo, Uni Mamangu, in a way, in a sense. So yeah, right. That's what's up. I was an extra.
Oh, okay.
For a good 2 years. Ours was
for 2 years.
Yeah, for 2 years. For 2 years. Say this is a scene. This is a scene. It's you. This is a scene, right? Mine was to walk in the background, to just a background, and you know, you just do your thing. You just walk from A to Z and back again.
For 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, before I even say got a character name. So it was a journey, man. It was a journey of proving yourself, of you being hungry for your art and really wanting to express
So
yourself.
you literally landed that job by like just walking. You walked into the director's life.
Of course, you had to walk into the role. But the first thing was, hey, wait, tembe before to pay role. Anything else happens, but of course you go on and you end up proving yourself. 1, 2, 3 things come together, and bada bing,
bada bing,
bada bing, bada boom. So, and man, we give thanks for all that's come.
He once acted as my prospective son-in-law.
Really?
Oh yeah, this has happened before.
Yeah.
Speaking of Selena, let's talk about that, because I know she's won a couple of awards for Selena, and you know that's where I feel like we literally got to see the best of you. That's what I believe. I've watched you as you know, in that particular role, and you were brilliant, and you know it got you to win awards as well. So when you were doing that particular role, did you ever envision it to be such a rage, and everyone was just like, wow, she's good?
Well, point of correction, I did not win any awards with Selena.
Okay.
But Selena as a show did win quite a number of awards.
Which Kalashas did you win?
I have never won any Kalasha, but I have been nominated twice.
That's it. So the nomination.
3 times. 3rd time is a charm. Looking forward to that. Anyway, what was your question again?
My question was, you know, when you started doing the role for Selena,
yes,
like a lot of people, I feel like they noticed your work in that particular character.
Okay.
And people started liking you a lot.
I think, you know, for a show that lasted that long, because it was almost 6 years, for a show that long, you know, if you have a lead or even supportive role, you have a chance to be more visible. So for actors, visibility is key. Like, people need to see, and need to see your craft, they need to see see how you sculpture the characters that you play. And the thing that I kept doing for myself, because being in a series for that long, you might actually end up being boxed into that particular character.
Yes.
So I kept doing plays in between, and I think that's where people started seeing the range and the difference of characters that I can play, because I did quite a number of plays with Back to Basics. And for me, I know people might be excited about the things they see on screen, but when I'm on stage, I think that's when I do my most powerful performances on stage. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you,
I miss
Mugo?
the stage.
Do you miss? You just said you missed the stage.
Yeah.
What is it about the stage that's so different?
Oh man, don't get us started. We'll perform, drop cameras. Here's the thing. For TV and film, the expression is very subtle.
Okay.
Yeah, the expression is different, right?
Then it's here.
Yeah,
there's a lot of
it's
this.
really close. For theater,
body language.
That person who paid for a ticket and is at the door,
he needs to see
should hear me and feel me from where I am right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then immediate feedback.
Right.
You know, when you're with the audience, you get immediate feedback.
Exactly.
They either cheer you on,
and you feel, let's go.
Yeah, or they break your heart and make you work even harder.
Either cheer or jeer. Right. Interesting. Do you know, I've actually noticed this myself. This is an observation that I've had. When you are an actor on stage, I feel like when you transition to being a movie actor, sometimes, I feel like there's a lot of criticism that comes with it, because they say that you are just meant to be on stage and you belong there.
Yeah.
And yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You are very theatrical.
You're very theatrical in your performance.
So when you're in a movie, people notice that, especially the intonation. I guess when you're talking, your diction, everything is just very stage-like.
Yeah.
So I've heard and I've seen this comment in a lot of places before. People have had this conversation time and again. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, the transition needs effort on whoever, because these are different mediums, and different mediums need different performances.
Right.
So you need to be conscious of those differences. And but if you said you watched the trailer for County 49, did you see any overly theatrical performances?
Absolutely not.
And most of us actually from stage,
I think
including the
experience
directors
as well, because you guys have been doing this for a long time now.
For sure.
Right. So as you said, I think the transition needs some work, and I feel like you guys have finessed that, and maybe
say that again.
Say it again.
Finesse.
Thank you.
So for some, I think the younger actors probably, as you said, maybe they need that fine tuning, and for someone like that, are there any schools or academies that they could go to, and are there any active acting classes per se that you can go to and enroll yourself in if you want to learn how to become an actor in Kenya?
Yes. For sure. I think this is one thing, if you want to be anything, you have to know about it.
Yes.
So if you want to be an actor, you have to know about acting industry. You need to do your own research on where is this industry coming from, how old is it, is there an industry, what are the bodies around it, who are the actors, who are the stakeholders in the industry. You need to be curious about it first. And if you're being curious about it, you will land onto certain things that will help you to put a foundation on the industry. One, you will meet veteran actors who might, you might network with, and they might train you or they might give you advice. You will know about, workshops that are happening.
Yeah.
There are schools that do offer theater. KCA University is one of them, and it's very big. KU University also offers. Enroll yourself. There are also scholarships, for residencies that happen.
Right.
I am a beneficiary of a residency, and I'm sure there's so many by Art Exchange and CISP. There are so many things out there that can help you to add some level of education, some level of skills to your craft.
Okay.
And they're available, but you need to be nosy enough.
Yeah, you need to want it, man.
Yeah.
You need to want it. At the end of the day, it's all about, do you really want it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to be an actor, you want to do this, you want to do that, you want to get to that level of life.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Do you want it?
Do you want it? How bad?
How bad?
And imagine it's work.
Imagine
it's work. It's
at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's work.
Yes.
So just do it like work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this conversation. I'm sure you've seen it time and again on Twitter. The same 5 faces being seen over and over again when it comes to Kenyan movies and Kenyan shows. What's your take on that?
Which are those 5 faces?
We've seen Pascal Tokodi, Sarah Hassan, I don't know, Nick Mutuma. There was two other names. And Brenda Wairimu, and there was one more. I've forgotten.
I'll ask you something Jenny asked me once.
Tell me.
When's the last time you saw Brenda Wairimu in a TV show?
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
Nick Mutuma?
Long time.
It's been a long time.
Things have changed.
Yeah.
Things have changed. I really think, especially 2020.
Yeah.
2020
it's so unfair because that's what they do for a living.
Then why
so when you keep saying that you're seeing them too many times, like if they haven't gotten a job, like I think Brenda Wairimu, the last time we saw her was on Selena.
If
she hasn't gotten another job and she has a family to feed, she's got a kid, you know.
Imagine.
It's just absurd. I think
such conversations.
And people don't get tired of seeing Denzel
They don't.
Washington.
When I saw this conversation on Twitter, my reaction to this was exactly, you're never tired of seeing a Viola Davis. You're never tired of seeing someone like Denzel Washington, as she said. Like, so why are you saying that someone in Kenya, if they've been seen in 2 or 3 shows, you disregard the whole talent that they have? And maybe they're just better than anyone else. Right?
Yeah. Well, you know, the Kenyan audience is very hard to understand and also appease. And I think sometimes sisi wenyewe, I don't know if I can speak Swahili, lakini
no, of course you can.
Sisi wenyewe hatu appreciate wale wa kwetu. Tunapenda sana watu wa nje. Lakini hatupendi kuji-appreciate sisi wenyewe. Na kama tungeji-appreciate sisi wenyewe, ungeangalia tu, all these artists are people who have families, people who are working. They're
working hard.
Yes. They're working hard. And they go for auditions. People go for auditions.
You know, there's this misconception. There's a myth actually that like if you've been in the industry for 10 plus years or 15 years, that you're actually called and you're told, okay, this role is yours. There's nothing like audition, but please,
I can't wait for that time.
Please clear the air.
Call me, please.
Clear the air.
People go for auditions. County 49, for example. I know the guys who would be like, I know Jambo. We've seen him in Igiza, we've seen him, in County 49, we've seen him in Kina, we've seen him in so many shows. But Ainea Ojambo goes for auditions.
Wow.
He does.
I like that.
And you see, maybe people his age, actors his age, don't think like, we have to go for auditions. You know, we've been in this industry for so long. But then that's how they miss out. Because you do not go for the call, then how do you expect to be cast? So people need to go for auditions.
True.
We had
regardless of who you are.
Regardless of who you are.
Yes.
I remember the auditions had the who is who when I attended for County 49. And they did not feel like, oh, because I'm from another big show, now I should not come for an audition. You're looking for work. We are constantly job seekers as actors, constantly.
Just like anybody else.
Just like anybody else.
Yes.
So we'll be out there, you know, if you guys will be tired of us, we'll still be going to look for work. And if you fit the brief, we will be cast. And we will do our best to do phenomenal work. Create magic.
Love it. Creating magic indeed. Let's talk about the Kenyan industry when it comes to, you know, movies, and now we have originals. Of course, you know, the platforms that have really just changed the dynamics when it comes to entertainment, like Showmax, for instance, you know, Netflix, for instance. Like, I feel like back in the day, if you wanted to be cast in a show, you had to go to, as you said, NTV, KTN, Citizen, KBC, right?
You should have started with KBC. KBC was the home of all theater.
Exactly. So it began here. It began there. So, but now things have changed. You know, you can either even release a short film on your own Instagram, or you could possibly just put your movie on YouTube, or, you know, get an original, for instance, on Netflix or Showmax. That's a bit harder. But do you think that these opportunities is what is helping the industry today in terms of growth and in terms of just taking it to the next level?
Of course, because first of all, I feel expression has been given room, right? More and more artists are now coming forth with their work. They're more brave to express what they want, and guys are eager for this work. Guys have been seeing films for the longest time, and they want to express this. They've been watching films that have been amazing for years, so the bar's been set really high. So as a filmmaker, I want to express myself and see if I can I do this like I saw in this particular film, or something better. As a performer, can I get to this level? Can I tell this story in this way and take this industry to another level? You know what I mean? So it's all growing in a very good way, and I think whatever's happening, let it keep happening. And let it blossom even more, please. Please.
Let's not stop here.
Yeah, let's not stop here, guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There are two things that I see these investors are adding to the industry.
For sure.
One is they're creating competitiveness.
Okay.
Because there's a monopoly in terms of broadcasters who would show your product. So that means they had the muscle to stifle the budgets and to make it literally very difficult for you to create content of quality. And so by having so many people who are interested in your broadcasted material, then the competition is very high. And now even local broadcasters now have had to up their game in terms of acquisition. Like they cannot just commission shows for nothing or for little, because now people have, the quality has been raised, and now people have to use proper cameras, they have to use, expertise and all that. So that has really helped to grow the industry because now the competition has made people to up their game. Secondly, I think there is a huge gap between working actors and job-seeking actors. The majority of actors are constantly looking for jobs, and very few have regular work or regular income. Like I think myself and probably Muga are talking, and Mugo are talking from a point of privilege, because we have work. Like I have had work for over 6 years with Selena, and that's a huge privilege that I honestly do not take for granted. But that gap, what these other investors are coming and people who are interested in the craft here are doing, is narrowing that gap. Because now there's so many people who are able to get work. A show like, for instance, Salem, a show like Kina has so many actors that are young, not just what people say, the same old faces. And so these opportunities are allowing us to make it actually an industry rather than a playing field.
I like that. I like that a lot. Quite an insight there, I must say. Thank you for that. I'm going to do a quick rapid fire with you guys, because
what is that?
So I'm going to ask you a few questions, and you just have to give me 1 or 2 words as your answer. That's it.
Okay. They better be about County 49.
I hope so.
And about you guys as well. Like, I'd like to know more about Wakio. I'd like to know about Mugo, right? Okay.
I trust
So
you.
let's start off with you, Mugo.
Yes,
okay.
please.
If Emmanuel Mugo wasn't an actor, what would he be? Quickly, I need an answer.
He'd be a news anchor like you.
Hey, okay.
Right there.
Coming for you.
I like that.
Coming for your job.
In your eyes, who do you think is the best actor in Kenya? Oh, Lord.
Actor in Kenya. Right now.
Best actor.
Jesus.
I mean, could be old, from back in the day, could be now. Whoever. Who did you look up to? Your best actor?
I'm going to answer the same questions.
Of course you are.
Okay.
So she has time to think. Go on, go on.
Same. I would have to say John C.B. Okumu.
Okay. Best actress in Kenya.
Best actress in Kenya. I will have. Amen. No. Cheki nimepiga shughuli na wewe na nakuheshimu vibaya.
Haina shida.
I will have female, yes?
Yes.
Nungari.
Okay.
Nungari. Kautha Nungari, she played Mama Almasi in Machachari.
Okay.
She
was in midlife crisis.
Midlife crisis. She was in, who remembers way back, not Akina Sumula Penzi. It was on NTV. Jesus, I forget his name.
Can't remember.
Nini Washera was on it. Sumula Penzi. Was it Sumula Penzi?
I don't know.
It's fine.
Wingu La Moto.
Wingu La Moto! Yes! Wingu La Moto, that's the one. Wingu La Moto.
My director, Mark. Not me.
Yeah. Okay. Wingu La Moto, that's the name I was looking for. That's
it?
Yeah, that's another.
Best Kenyan movie to date that you've watched? Go on.
Poacher.
Our time is ending.
Poacher,
okay.
Poacher.
A role that you think you could have done better from a Kenyan movie? Yes. Any role of any actor that you saw, you watched, and you think that you could have played that role better. Mugo.
Oh, gosh.
Hurry up.
Cheki, Selena Pascal Tokodi, I'm coming for you.
It's a wrap. Nice. Wakio, let's go. If Wakio Mzenge wasn't an actress, what would she be?
She would be two things. She would either be a teacher, or she would be...
Go on.
A dancer.
Community developer.
Love it. Okay. Best actress in your eyes in Kenya.
Okay, there are many.
Just say one, the top of your mind.
It's not fair to say. No,
one.
They're almost like 4 on top of my mind
okay,
right
say
now.
say two. To
I
be
say
safe.
2.
Yes.
Okay. I would say Marian Nungo.
One more.
Okay, fine.
Best actor in Kenya, in your eyes?
Bruce Makao.
Okay. Best Kenyan movie, best Kenyan production to date?
I would talk about Nairobi Half-Life.
Nairobi Half-Life. That's mine as well, by the way. Good choice. And lastly, a role that you think that you could have played better?
I really do not know.
You don't know?
Think about it. Any show.
Any show? Any movie?
Unajua.
No.
Unajua.
You say, ma.
He's already said.
No, mine. For you.
Yeah.
Which role you would have played?
Which role I would have played better?
Which one was Ila Ntivile Amali?
What was that called?
Yeah.
The role of Usha
in which show?
Apart from,
Usha in Mali.
Okay.
Usha
Interesting.
Well, I think...
Nah, you would have pulled it off.
Yeah?
He said it.
Okay, cool.
No, you have the spirit.
All right. Thank you so much. That was incredible. A last message to your fans to watch County 49.
Oh, please.
Yeah, so County 49 is on Showmax. We have 3 episodes up already. Every Thursday, you be sure to get into the Showmax. Aki, if you have not subscribed, subscribe.
Please.
300 Bobaki. Just subscribe and get Showmax and watch every Thursday. We have new episode coming through. It's a 13-episode series and it's so fascinating. It is a drama, it is a thriller, it is political, it is entertaining, and you know Kenyans will love politics, so it's a mashup of all the things that they like. Make sure you watch.
That's it. She said it. Last words?
Time to make history.
Hey, mic drop. Drop the mics. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. It was an absolute pleasure having both of you on my hot seat. And, you know, all the best in future. Looking forward to seeing more of you and looking forward to seeing you continue create magic when it comes to your art. You guys are awesome. So
Thank you.
Kill it.
Thank
keep
you so
killing it.
much.
And keep
Thank
making us want more.
Yeah.
All right.
We will.
That's a wrap. Asante sana for tuning in. This is Easy Friday. We'll do this again next week, same time, same place. But don't go too far because the entertainment continues. Just me signing out. Shiksha, Arora, time to go home. Call Jax coming up next with Disco Funk. Get your dancing shoes on.